To North Korea, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul is with me now. Senator, how are you? And good morning there on Capitol Hill.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You've had this sink in for 36 hours. I'll grant you that. What do you think right now of Singapore and the contract?
I'm very hopeful. And if it comes to fruition, if we actually get denuclearization, President Trump will have done something miraculous, something historic. Now, we're still in the very beginning, so just the fact that North Korea signs an agreement doesn't always mean they'll adhere to that agreement. But I am very hopeful.
Okay. I don't know what's going on with you and Lindsey Graham, but it has become quite apparent that this is public. Lindsey, well, you had a response for him about North Korea, and he had a response about you, and it's gone back and forth. And last night, Senator Graham was on with Martha, and so he fired the last shot. Just let our viewers listen to this.
Contrary to what Senator Paul says, the only way you're going to get North Korea to give up their nuclear weapons program is for them to believe they're better off without it than with it, and that comes down to Trump convincing them that they can no longer go on the path they're going without a fight.
He says there's no threat that you won't walk away from. You called him a danger the other day. What's going on?
I think he's dangerously naive. I think in the midst of this historic opening that President Trump has orchestrated, for Lindsey Graham to say he wants to declare war on North Korea, terribly naive, wrong-headed, and a wrong way to go. But this is just one of a series of problems I have with him. And we were on the floor of the Senate yesterday discussing whether or not someone accused of a crime in the United States should get a lawyer or a trial. He frankly believes that he has the power and that he and the government should decide whether you get a trial by jury or whether or not you get the protections of the Fifth Amendment. I think that is very, very alarming. He actually defended the internment of the Japanese and said that, well, my goodness, if we let them all have attorneys during World War II, it would have been a big mess. Yeah, it would have possibly been a big mess in favor of the Constitution.
I feel like I'm in 2015 during the primary battle. Just keep it on North Korea, because what he said was if diplomacy fails, as a last resort, keep the military option on the table. Well, what is wrong with that?
I think what he said is that he's preparing an authorization to use force against North Korea. He's not talking about the implied force that always backs up diplomacy, and I think most people acknowledge that there is implied force behind diplomacy. There's implied weight of the entire U.S. military behind the president, yes. But to explicitly, in the middle of negotiations, say that he wants to declare war on North Korea is terribly naive and counterproductive.
Okay, just bring it back to the president and what we watched from 2 days ago. I've heard a lot of different opinions on the Hill. If they've come to Congress and submit this treaty that has not yet been made, I grant you, you guys are going to go at this thing like a piñata. And just looking at the way Congress is assembled today, what's the chance of this getting through?
I think it depends on what the agreement is, whether it's a treaty or not. So we'll have to see what's agreed to. And if there are bilateral things happening, if the U.S. is promising to do certain things, it may well be that it requires to be a treaty. But I'm very open to the negotiations that President Trump has started. I think President Trump is an historic figure in the sense that I don't think Bush would have done this. I don't think Obama would have done it. They would have litigated it to death with attorneys. They would have said, oh, no, we can't meet with North Korea's leader and this and that. That's what went on for a decade, and that's why we got nowhere. So President Trump being able to think outside the box and being someone willing to do something nobody else in the establishment was willing to do may well bring peace on the Korean Peninsula, and I'm very hopeful for that.
That is a strong statement. Senator, you come back anytime, okay? Rand Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your time there on the Hill, the Republican senator from Kentucky there. Okay, so, I mean.